Good afternoon, or whatever time it is when you guys watch this video. It's your friend and neighbourhood Weeb, Theta Eisenberg here, and if I'm shouting, making this quite loud, I'm sorry, because I know if you're like me, you hate YouTubers shouting absolutely everything to get their point across. For me, I'll only do that when I've got the washing machine on in the kitchen behind me. So this is the first part of my review or reviews of part 5 JoJo. So this is going to be Golden Wind, the first saga for part 5. Now, Golden Wind is about a fella called Giorno Giovanna. Now, if you know the memes, he has a dream, and what his dream is when he meets this fella here, Bruno, after Bruno licks his face. Yeah, that might sound weird, but Bruno licks Giorno's face to figure out if he's lying about the death of One Eye Luca, or Watery Eye Luca as they call him. Now, I don't know how Giorno ends up with, it's quite gruesome. Basically, Giorno ends up with Leaky Eye Luca's fingers in his mouth. Well, I'll rephrase that. Leaky Eye Luca doesn't put his fingers in Giorno's mouth. What I mean by that is, for some reason, Bruno, I don't think it was ever explained, or I've not seen it, but from what I remember from the first episode of Golden Wind, is somehow, correct, before I continue, anyone watching this video, if they know why Leaky Eye Luca's finger, disembodied fingers, ended up in Giorno's mouth when he puked them up, can you let me know in the comment section down below, because that'll really help. From one weeb to another weeb, let's discuss how that happened, because I can't remember, and I know you guys will help me and refresh my memory, so I'm relying on these. But anyway, the story begins with these two that are on the screen now. Giorno, the guy with blonde hair, and Bruno, the guy with black hair and the yellow things in his hair. So basically, Bruno is like, well, I know you're lying, that you had something to do with how Leaky Eye Luca ended up with a shovel on his head. And then obviously they have fisticuffs, and Bruno brings out his stand called, I'm gonna say both versions of what it's called. In the Japanese dub it's called Zipperman. No, wait a minute, sorry. In the Japanese dub it's called Sticky Fingers, and in the English dub, translated, I think it's called Zipperman. No, Bruno's stand, he has the ability to create a zip, you know, like the zip on your jacket, anywhere on his body, or anywhere on his opponent's body. So he can zip off their arm, their leg, any part of their body or his body. When he does it to himself, when Bruno does that ability to himself, he can take off parts of his body to avoid attacks and that. So say like a bad guy comes towards him, he activates Zipperman or Sticky Fingers, and his stand allows him to like dodge attacks and that by taking parts of his body off or making big holes in parts of the body so he can absorb the attack or something. Now he does this to Giorno by unzipping part of his face and parts of the rest of different parts of Giorno's body, and Giorno is like, well, I've never used my stand, Golden Wind, or Golden Experience, or whatever he calls it, against a human. So they have fisticuffs, Bruno and Giorno, and Giorno like makes contact with Golden Experience on Bruno, and Bruno's like, wait a minute, am I dead? And it turns out that Bruno sees himself moving slower but still alive, and he can't think what's going on, what's the power of Giorno's stand. And it actually turns out that Giorno says to Bruno that when Golden Experience touches another human being, it puts their consciousness into a state of hyper reality, meaning that I think I'm recalling this properly, but if I'm not, then obviously guys let me know. Guys and girls watching this, that are watching the series as I put this first part review out, correct me if I'm wrong, if I've got this wrong, but Giorno explains to Bruno that when Golden Experience or Golden Wind or whatever touches another human being in a fight, what it does to the enemy is it puts their mind into a state of hyper reality or accelerated awareness. So basically, the mind goes so fast that the person can see their own self moving at a own slower pace. Basically, think of the effects of Dio's stand, Zawaldo. Now, when Dio used Zawaldo, he froze time and everything went a darker shade of blue. I'm talking from how it was shown on the screen. The animation shows that Zawaldo freezed everything into a blue, dark blue-ish state. Now, think of that, but Golden Experience or Golden Wind or whatever. That blue state is Giorno's version of Zawaldo, but accelerating the person to a point that it's a state of hyper reality, that you're moving so fast that you can see your own self. Pretty trippy if you ask me. Now, after obviously the fisticuffs between these two, Giorno realises that the body that Bruno Zipperman's into is a 13-year-old kid, I'm not sure, that's using drugs. And I think that's why Giorno didn't follow through with his final attack on Bruno and Zipperman, because he thought it was disgusting how like the youth in that anime, in that part of JoJo, were using drugs in Italy, where it's based, or somewhere in Italy. So basically, Bruno is astonished by Giorno, and Giorno's like, what's the term? What's the line that he uses? Kono Giorno Giovanno Yomega A. And basically, I think that translates to, I'm not 100% sure, but what it translates to is, my name is Giorno Giovanno, I have a dream. And basically he tells Bruno his dream that he wants to become part of Passione, i.e. the mafia that's in this part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and work against Passione, the mafia, to get drugs off the street. Then they go through all this kind of... Jono has to go through a initiation process to prove to Poplio, or Populio, or however you pronounce his name, the head of Passione, that he will do anything to become part of Passione. And it's this lighter thing that he needs to keep alight no matter what. Now, there's a couple of times that it goes out and he freaks out. Obviously, he meets back up with... Giorno meets back up with Koichi. Yeah, Koichi is in this part, and he looks better because he's drawn better. And obviously you'll see that obviously Koichi is in an episode before this whole kind of testing. Now, with the help of Koichi, Giorno beats Poplio's stand. It's a remote stand that can extend outside the prison walls where Poplio is. I'm just going to say Poplio, and hopefully you guys will know who I mean. So with Koichi's help, like I said, Giorno figures out that Poplio's stand can't be anywhere near the sun because it exists in shadows, and if you step on the shadow, it's got you and it can kill you like that. But yeah, through the joint effort from obviously Giorno and Koichi, they beat the stand. And I think what Giorno does, if I remember rightly, is he kicks the stand with his stand into the sunlight so it evaporates like a vampire. And then a wee bit later on in the part, Golden Wind, they meet Mr. Fugo, the guy sitting down the bottom with the green outfit on, Abakio, the purple guy in the corner there, and Nearacha, the Feli, I think is a Feli, I'm still not sure, even far into the second part. But they meet Nearacha. Now, I'm going to say their stands. Mr. has one called Sex Pistol, or whatever. It's a gun stand. The actual stand is inside the gun. That's these small little bullet-like creatures, which is pretty funny. Obviously we know Bruno's one. Fugo's is... oh, what is this again? Purple Haze. If you ask me, Purple Haze is the coolest one. Coolest stand in this part. I would say more about Purple Haze. But to be honest, Purple Haze, nothing against the person that wrote the character or voices the character, but Purple Haze looks cool, but it's not my favourite stand. It isn't, sorry. My favourite stand is the one that Narancia has, because it's a toy plane. Because he sends it out and he's got a wee kind of like scouter eyepiece that he has on his right eye. I can't tell I can't tell which eye is his right eye by looking at this picture now, obviously because I can't tell my left from my right. But anyway, But obviously when Narancia calls his stand back, pulls it back in from not using it, what it does is it goes behind. I've seen this in the intro. It goes behind his I guess either his left or his right shoulder, and behind his head, and disappears behind his head. Abbacchio, his stand is basically like a, if you remember, remember those old kind of like hi-fis where you show my age now and someone's gonna go watch this and go, okay boomer. I'm not a boomer, I'm a millennial. But anyway, do you guys remember back in, I think it was 1996 or it was the early 2000s, where they had the cassette decks where you put a cassette in and you could record like the chart show and that on like the cassette tapes? Think of that. But basically Abbacchio's stand, how I see it, is like a big hi-fi stand where you can record stuff from stuff that happens and rewind it back. And as he's rewinding it back, his stand turns into the person with the information that they need, and it replays what they said. It comes in useful basically when the crew here, everyone, are on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and then it goes on to the wee dance thing that Narancia does, the torture dance. Now the torture dance basically is the part of the anime where Narancia, Mister and Fugo are doing the whole, I'm not going to sing it, you know the torture dance. If you look it up on YouTube, torture dance, JoJo Part 5, they do the whole weird dance and say that they're torturing this guy to get information out of him because they know someone is following them, because they're going to this part of Italy to get this thing from a treasure or something. That's part of the anime that I forgot about because I fell asleep right in the middle of this little arc they had. Nothing against the people that wrote this or voiced it, I just fell asleep because I found it boring, to be honest. I think that's everything. No, they're tasked with looking after the bosses, or the next boss's daughter, Trish. I don't think she's in this footy, but she's a 15-year-old woman with pink hair. They're tasked with looking after her, and they have to get her to her dad. Now, her dad is obviously, spoilers, the villain of the next part, obviously, but they don't know that because if you remember in the first part of JoJo, how before they met Dio again, his face was all shadowed out. That's what they do with Diavolo or Doppio or whatever his name is before they properly reveal him. And obviously there's a brutal fight near the end of the part Golden Wind, the whatever the first part of part 5 is called, can't remember, but you know what I mean. There's a fight between Bruno and Zipperman and King Crimson, and it's brutal. It's brutal. Bruno actually dies. Well, he dies for a while, for a little second or a couple of seconds, and obviously he's passing on. but then for some reason he realises he's still got some stuff to do because he's got to. Well, they save Trish, by the way, because the dad comes along and tries to take her. But then they realise that they realise that Trish is their friend and part of their little group, and they want her back. So basically, Bruno's obviously fighting to save her, to bring her back to the group. And obviously Bruno protects her, but he dies in doing so. But then he comes back because he realises that he's still got stuff to do, and he needs to get his group out of Italy where they are, because they went against the boss's wishes, and obviously now they're like exiled from Passione, and now obviously that leads into Vento Oreo, the second part saga of part 5, which I will write a script for once I've fully watched the second part of part 5, and obviously I'll do a review video for you guys. So hopefully you have enjoyed my review of part 1 of part 5 of JoJo, called Golden Wind, or whatever it's called. And I'll see you, the person or people watching this video, again next time when I am reviewing part 2 of the part 5 JoJo, which is called Vento Oreo. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Stay shining gold. Goodbye for now, people. Have a nice time with whatever you're eating. Goodbye for now.